Okay. Well, first, man, I'm so glad that everyone's here. Thank you so much. It has been 3 years since OpenMind began, which is a little bit crazy. I don't know that when it started, but we would have expected that it would last this long. Shout out to some of the sort of OG folks on the call, particularly the ones who we haven't seen in a little while. So I know. So yeah, so I thought maybe this would be a good time just to like share some of the stories of our community and also maybe give people a sense of, yeah, a sense of where we came from and like how we got here. Because, you know, kind of just joining, maybe that's like not quite as obvious. So yeah, anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out today. And I hope you enjoy like the presentations and stuff that are happening later. This one won't be, you know, too terribly long, and then we'll get like a survey of sort of what's going on in the community in general, which will be super fun. Yeah, is Patrick around as well? Because these stories kind of involve Patrick a little bit as well, but I can't see all the participants. It'd be sad if he wasn't around. Oh look, my mom's here. Hi, Mom. Oh my gosh, Nick Elledge too. So many people I know. I guess that's kind of part of the fun. But yeah, so history of OpenMind. So 3 years ago, 3 years ago plus a few months, Amber and I were hanging out here in the UK, and I had started school and was playing around with various technologies, and I came across homomorphic encryption, which seemed pretty cool. Was doing a deep learning PhD here, and yeah, basically it started with a blog post. I don't know if actually everyone knows this. Let me find. So I have a blog called I Am Trask. I'll get the link to a second and share this link with you. And like in March of 2017, I did this blog post called Building Safe AI, which I will leave here in the chat. And in this blog post, it was literally just like, I mean, I had been doing some blogging lately and I thought it was really cool and enjoyed blogging. And homomorphic encryption seemed like it was cool in the technology. So I was just kind of playing around like, hey, what would it be like if we put these two things together? And this was how yeah, how things got started. So I posted that blog post. Ended up giving a talk on the blog post a couple weeks later at the Future of Humanity Institute here in Oxford. So if any of you have read that book, Super Intelligence by Nick Bostrom, so it's like his group here in Oxford. And this post was kind of on like, you know, maybe how AI could be a bit more safe if we had tools like homomorphic encryption that were relatively robust. But the really frustrating part about writing that blog post was that like, there was no good homomorphic encryption libraries for machine learning at the time. It was the kind of thing where like, there was lots of, when I was looking around trying to write the blog post, there was lots of libraries that like did like 1-bit operation or something that like something in someone's paper was. And so it just seemed like there was a real lack of tooling. There was very little community around tools for privacy preserving machine learning. And honestly, privacy preserving machine learning wasn't even necessarily it was kind of a thing. Like it was very, very nascent though. It was very, very early on. So did this blog post, gave a presentation at FHI, and then nothing happened for a little while. We just kind of hung around, thought about some of the concepts, and Amber and I were going to take a trip back home to the US, where we're from, and this is about when we came up with the name OpenMined. So we were sitting in a, at the time we lived on a boat, and we were sitting on a canal in Oxford, and trying to think about like, you know, okay, if we were going to do something, what would we call it? And we settled on the name OpenMind in part because the domain name was available. So, you know, there you go, real constraints of the real world. But yeah, exactly. Thanks for that. Oh my gosh, John McHale, it's so good to see you. So for those who don't know John McHale, he's John Mick in the Slack. He's also been around since very much the early days. Yeah, so we were literally chilling. It was like a summer afternoon trying to come up with like cool names. And we settled on OpenMind for like 4 or 5 reasons, which I think are kind of interesting maybe to iterate on because they're not really written down anywhere. So first, the words open and mind had been really popular in the AI space of organizations. I won't deny. However, I thought the word open mind was pretty cool for a couple of reasons. So first, open mind, just when you hear it, is inherently sort of positive sounding thing, right? You know, it sort of implies that like people are sort of, you know, open-minded to like new opportunities and to totally different ways of doing things. And this was sort of like a radical project anyways. So that was pretty cool. Also, open mind is kind of a play on open source. So if you thought about like open source is to code, like maybe open mind would be to like open models, like if you know like sort of AI model transparency, if you actually show it, like, you know, revealing the weights in some kind of way or like some sort of increased accountability. So I thought maybe open mind could end up becoming like a cool parallel for that. And then there's obviously the sort of the notion of like sort of open source intelligence that's kind of baked in there. And then finally, the weird spelling of mind that we do, M-I-N-E-D. I will admit, again, in part to get the domain name. So like that was definitely still a part of it. But it's spelled like data mining. So if you think about kind of one of the long-term goals of our community is to build tools for open data mining, sort of open on the internet, right? To the extent that like we could create sort of grids of information that we can do data science against that might not be our own, right? So it's sort of out in the network. So that was kind of the essence of the word open mind. And I think it describes our culture as that we're very open-minded. It's got that kind of AI flavor. That we're open source and like real link to open source. And yeah, so we came up with the name. I think we might have bought the domain, but we didn't really do anything with it yet. We were still just, we were just about to take this trip to Nashville. And that was when I went to Patrick's house. So Patrick, I think, is on the call. So you might know Patrick as Serial Larceny. And so for 2 weeks, Amber and I were living at Patrick's house in Nashville in the summer of 2017. I can't remember, I'm sure at Bennett, we probably hung out at some point while we were there. And Kevin Huber came by, who was also an early dev. I don't know if you, Bobby, do you remember Kevin Huber? He was around. Yeah, we went to this workspace. I remember in like the span of like one day, we went to a workspace where Patrick was working and we named Syft and Grid and Sonar. Do you guys remember Sonar? It's not really around anymore, but Sonar was around, which was like this blockchain thing that that didn't last long.
The Adapter project.
The Adapter project. What else was there? Miner, so mines, individual data mines. Oh yeah, people might not know the reason why Syft is called Syft either. So the idea is that you're sifting through data, looking for like the good insights, but letting the private data fall through. That was like the idea for Syft. With the funky spelling, I don't really remember why, but SYFT seemed cooler than SIFT, I guess. So yeah, anyway, hung out, went to Patrick's co-working space. We bought, you know, all the domains and all the hosting and got everything set up. Shortly thereafter, was hanging out with Bennett. And so I don't know if you guys know, like Bennett, Patrick, and I go pretty far back. I think, and Bennett has, I think, helped me tell every story I've ever wanted to tell very generously, which is really awesome. And he put together OpenMined's logo. So I don't know if you guys can see Bennett on the call. Maybe wave, Bennett. Put together OpenMined's OG logo, which I think has lasted well, and the brand has really expanded since then to include all sorts of cool aspects to it. I think that I'm starting to get, oh, am I echoing? Hold on, I can get some headphones. I'll be right back.
I don't know who it is.
Is it me?
So let's look at Andrew's living room. That's that's Amber now.
Is it me? Am I echoing?
No, I don't know. I have no idea.
What's up? Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, so that's kind of how OpenMind started. Can you hear me now? Can someone say yes or no? Cool. So yeah, OpenMind started. So, you know, it was a blog post, then a talk at the FHI, and then a trip back to Nashville where we hung out and bought all the domains and got things involved. And, you know, people who were friends thought it was cool, and we got everything started. I thought, and we could do like a quick overview. I mean, the code base in the community has gone through lots of changes since then. So in the very beginning, we got totally swarmed by hardcore blockchain community of 2017. I don't know if you guys remember blockchain in 2017, but it was the heyday of like ICOs and like yeah, just ICOs. It's actually within 2 weeks of creating the website, we had like 4 or 5 different blockchain hedge funds reach out, all trying to get us to do all sorts of crazy stuff, which we did not do. But there's a talk, if you can find it on YouTube. It's like 2 weeks after we started it, that has like old branding that I gave in Canada in Toronto. That had like our original vision for what we wanted to do. Gosh, I don't even know where I could find it. It was like Toronto 2017. I don't know. I should have looked for it ahead of time. But yeah, if someone finds it on YouTube, you can post it in the Zoom. But yeah, there's like a talk that has like the original slide deck, and we were in this Airbnb in Toronto. Hey Zoomroot, have a good day. Yeah, so after that, you know, the first year was blockchain stuff. The second year, we took a pivot to build things on Unity. So I don't know if you guys remember building stuff in Unity. That was an interesting time. And the general idea was that like Unity has this ability to package GPU code and all sorts of stuff on basically any possible card, right? So you could run it on TVs and all sorts of crazy stuff. Then later, Jason, I don't know if Jason's around, prototyped an initial hook into Torch and basically showed that we could augment PyTorch. And that's really when we got on the thread that we're on now, which we're still, you know, riding to this day. And Syft 0.1, 0.2, and 0.2 is about expanding to other frameworks. And then 0.3 has all sorts of interesting stuff being packaged in it. So yeah, I guess maybe the other big milestones are like this time last year is when we announced the Udacity course, which is really, really cool. For those of you who don't know, around 12 or 13,000 students enrolled at this point, I think. So it's been quite a few people that have used it. Since then, we started doing research grants. You know, between our great supporters last year, you know, the Rise Foundation, and this year with Facebook and the PyTorch group, as well as the BitMEX Foundation and other foundations, we've raised, you know, around $650,000 to support open source development around here, and that's really special and really cool. And it's awesome that we get the privilege to get paid to do open source stuff and to focus on, you know, the problems that are most worth solving instead of just the problems that you know, we have to do to survive. I think you know, most of the time we have to work on problems in life that are about, you know, making rent or doing whatever. I think the really awesome part about getting to work on open source is that in theory, you know, you get to just say, hey, you know, what problems are most worth solving? Like let's try to solve those. And I think that's what motivates me a lot. That's what makes me really excited, and why I'm sort of so excited about the steps we're on now and the steps we're going to do next. And yeah, I think that's really cool. And I know lately, for those of you who've been in the community, there's been lots of talk about what our long-term roadmap is. I think we're really at an inflection point. I think we're really rounding a corner. I would go ahead and say, like, since the beginning of OpenMind, we've been incredibly, you know, distributed and decentralized in the sense of like it's lots of individual actors building stuff that like may or may not properly integrate. And I think the corner that we're rounding right now as a community, which is really, really exciting, is that we're starting to coalesce our, you know, individual areas much better. And the idea that we're going to have like a single kind of final spec and platform that's going to be able to allow people to own and control the only copies of their information is really special and really awesome. And the things that we're going to be able to do with that are, you know, exciting and fun. And the other thing that I would mention that on reflecting the community, plus what I know is probably a little bit ranting, but it's just, you know, how I think about things, I suppose, is that the people that are in OpenMind community are as the name implies, incredibly open-minded and collaborative. Like especially folks who are like really core contributors and are around all the time. We've had people come and go in the community, and somehow we've created this momentum where I think people are kind and in general pretty patient, and collaborative, and the general norm and the general pattern is that ego has been off the table. And I just love that, because I think that that's really rare. I think it's really rare to have this many people together working towards a long-term altruistic vision that's this hard, that requires grinding through code day in, day out. And yeah, I'm just really glad that all of you are here, especially the people who are putting in the hours right now on the big code refactors, the big use cases, and the big recent demos. Huge shout out to the last 2 demos around static federated learning and static federated learning team and the Krypton team, who did a really great job. And they like getting static federated learning working. And yeah, so I think I'm out of time. I might even be a little bit over. Sorry. But next, I think we have a message from Ben. And yeah, I'll be hanging out in the gather. Like if anyone has questions, and I think I'm supposed to talk about Syft core later. But yeah, so that's sort of like where OpenMind came from, where we're headed maybe. And thanks for coming. Thanks for being a part of the story. I really appreciate it.
Yay!
Yay.
Clap, 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 clap.
Oh, I guess Zoom has claps.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to OpenMind's 3rd birthday party. My name is Amber. I lead the community teams at OpenMind. And of course, I support all of Andrew's sentiment. It's been an incredible 3 years watching this community grow. It's continually blowing my mind that so many people are so passionate about this that they just volunteer their time. Yeah, it's incredible. So thank you all so much for being here, and we'll get started with our presentations. A little bit of information about it. Each presentation will be about 5 minutes long. I would like to share the presentation schedule, but I'm not sure how to do that in the chat here. So if anybody wants to chat me and tell me dragging and dropping isn't working. So it's on Slack, and it's also at the help desk in the gather if you're curious. But anyway, so we've got 5-minute presentations coming up. At the beginning, you'll notice that you had to consent to be recorded. That's just so that we can share the videos afterwards, so they can be used for lots of fun purposes, but I promise I won't share anything embarrassing. And so after each presentation, the presenters will be hanging out in the gather area that is labeled with their team or topic name. So you can go there to ask questions and discuss with them. Just when you close the Zoom, click re-enter gather in the room or in the window where you had the gather open, and you'll be popped back into the presentation room, and then just follow the arrows through the doors to enter the main gather space. I also want to share a link to our welcome package. There you go. That's a link to our welcome package. That will have links for more information about all the teams you're about to hear from, as well as information about how to join, where to get started in the community, all kinds of really good information about stuff. So if you hear somebody talking about a team and you're not sure, like if 5 minutes isn't enough information, you want more, just click that link and you'll be able to read more about them and join through there. So let's see. So let's get started with the presentations. First up, we have Ben Szymkow. He's going to tell us about OpenMined's development teams, but it is 3 in the morning in Australia where he lives. So, so he sent us a video presentation. But after we watch the video, the members of his team will be hanging out in the gather afterwards to chat and answer questions. So let's see. Let us start. I am going to share. Computer sound, desktop, share, go. Okay, you guys can see my screen now, yeah? Gorgeous. Okay, so we will hear from Ben now.
Happy 3rd birthday, OpenMind. Hope you're having a fantastic time, enjoying some well-earned celebrations. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Ben. I've been involved in OpenMind for a little while now, hosting meetups in Melbourne and Sydney, also involved with the Differential privacy team on all sorts of exciting projects, and most recently leading the development team. And today what I wanted to do was take a quick moment of your time, a bit of a snapshot of all the amazing accomplishments that the development team has made over these last 3 years, and really talk about who they are. There's 147 active contributors. Just that means in the last 30 days, 147 people have hit push or typed in git push or whatever, right? Like there's been a lot of people involved and it's a continuously growing to put this in a little bit of context, there's almost 300 contributors over the lifetime of OpenMined that have been involved. But we get every month on month that number is growing. Like, it's not a number that's shrinking. We know that more people are getting involved across more and more projects, and we now have 26 teams, or 26 formal teams. I know there's a lot of informal people working together on their own projects, but 26 teams that we know about in this development world that really help marshal and provide that sort of collaboration with these contributors. For those of you that are not very familiar with the teams that we have, we've got teams that cover any number of topics: functional encryption, homomorphic encryption, secure multi-party compute, differential privacy. We also have not only these deeply technical topics, right, in terms of like privacy preserving machine learning topics. When we have all these great algorithms and all these things that these different teams are building, we actually need a way to make sure that the world can adopt them, because OpenMined is all about lowering that barrier of entry for privacy preserving machine learning. So we do have like the web and mobile team is a fantastic example of this, and they really make sure that these algorithms that we're building and these other fantastic, really technical assets that we're building, that the rest of the world can adopt them through, first-class websites, mobile applications, and soon enough embedded systems. And so, wherever you want to get involved, please make sure, just go to the general channel, and there's always calls for new people, new roles, new things to come up. If you want to contribute, there's a team for you. We have 70 repositories as well. And so if we think about what 70 repos actually means, that's a combination of really experimental repos, things like we're trying out a new idea, we might fork an existing repository and see how we can keep pushing it to the extreme, or we might just try out, there's this paper that one of our researchers has produced, and we want to see if we can actually make that paper become a reality. So that's your sort of experimental libraries, and we always want to encourage these libraries. They are absolutely fundamental to our community, and I think they're a really important part of our culture. We also have at the other end these gold-plated, production-ready libraries that are being used, real use cases being used by real customers today. And I think that that's quite important too, that we do support both ends of this spectrum, and that's really what our developers have done and will continue to do. There's 3,270 issues. Not sure if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm hoping that most of those issues are actually just a symptom of really well-documented code and really well-documented requirements where we know exactly what we're going to do, and it's not just a whole bunch of bugs because our code's terrible. I know it's not. Our code's great. We also, the last thing that I really wanted to show you from a bit of a statistics point of view is all the different languages that we use. I know that traditionally, not traditionally, but over the last probably 5 years in particular, Python has become the most popular language to use in data science. Wasn't always the case. C++ and R in particular, were the workhorses of data science before these fancy Python frameworks. But you know what? Clojure is also a new language that we actually have a repository for that a lot of data scientists use. I know that there are some experiments underway to eventually include Julia, but we also have repos that use all these different types of languages: Scala, TypeScript, Kotlin, whatever you want to get involved in. Spicy .NET code as well. The C# code there. We actually used to use the Unity framework. Like, we used to, be involved with a gaming engine to build our privacy preserving machine learning. We will go to no ends to preserve your privacy. Well, anyway, that's enough from me. There is a lot more coming over the next 3 years, and I'm so excited to be involved for the next 3 years, having seen what's happened in the last 3. I would just ask that before the end of this conference, before you leave today, maybe try to do 3 different things. Walk away with one new idea. Walk away with one new story to tell your friends. That maybe in telling that story, your friends will want to come and help out at OpenMined too and join our fantastic community. And then make a new friend. Like, meet somebody tonight when you're walking around your little virtual conference. Find somebody, say hello, get their Slack name, and make sure you catch up with them in the next few weeks. That's all from me. Hopefully I'll see you on Slack. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. You're wonderful. We love you. We wish you were here. Members of his team will be in the gather afterwards if you have questions. And also, if you want to reach out to him directly, he's at Ben S on Slack. Cool. So let's see. Next up, we have Andrew again. Yay! Andrew Trask, based out of Oxford, England, here to tell us about the Syft core team. Go ahead, Andrew.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. After this, you won't have to listen to my blabbering mouth any longer, but Syft core team is doing some really cool stuff, and so I really wanted to share that. So the Syft core team started maybe, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, out of a recognition that Syft was starting to have lots of different stakeholders. And previously, we have like lots of different dev teams that are all kind of leveraging Syft in one way or another, right? We had crypto teams like adding cryptographic algorithms to Syft, and now the crypto sub teams are working on that as well. Differential privacy team, like and the differential privacy sub teams, like we want to sort of factor that into sort of the Syft ecosystem. Like the web and mobile team was like building federated learning platforms, like leveraging Syft. But there wasn't really any team that was focusing just on kind of the core, like defending and like working on like making sure that there's like one cohesive story around what Syft actually is. And so I thought that it would be a really good opportunity for me to take on this project because I have good context on what the general needs of Syft are across lots of different stakeholders in the ecosystem, and that's really what the team is all about. It's grown a lot. I think we focus on really hard technical engineering challenges. When something goes wrong somewhere in OpenMined, it's probably because the Syft core team made a mistake. So you can blame us for pretty much anything wrong in the sort of Syft ecosystem that you see. I thought I'll just share my screen briefly and talk a little bit about what we're planning to do next. So as far as the members of Syft core, this is the group of powerhouse Syft core members, including some folks who are sort of borrowed from other teams as well. So definitely check out them, say hi in Slack. And the big thing that we're focusing on right now, in addition to merging pull requests and stuff like that on the Syft 0.2 line, which is the main Syft that's in master right now. So I think we're at 0.2.7. What we're focusing on next is the Syft 0.3, which is a pretty significant reboot based on a lot of lessons that we've learned about how people are using the 0.2 line, right? And specifically, just to give you like a quick tour of the milestones we're working on. So you'll see, if you want to find this, it's like PySyft, and then issues, and then milestones, this little button over here, right? And then you see different milestones attached for different PySyft versions. So 0.30, 0.31, 2, 3, 4, 5, this kind of stuff. And so in 0.30, which is what we're focusing mostly on now, that is 4 big epics at the top, right? And these 4 big epics are basically working to get us back up to the notebook demo. And if you haven't heard about the notebook demo is really, really cool. So this is I would say, the MVP sort of privacy preserving data science system, wherein one person can get on a Jupyter Notebook. So like I could get on a Jupyter Notebook here, and then I could get on a Zoom call with, say, Bobby, who's sitting 2 cells beneath me, and he could get on a Jupyter Notebook, right? And we could create a peer-to-peer connection between my notebook and his notebook. So basically, I would generate a little hash, just like we do for Google Hangouts or something like this, and I would give it to Bobby, and he pops it into his, and then our notebooks get connected to each other. And Bobby can load in some private data. I can do data science with that private data, right? So like Bobby has like some magical, mystical, fancy New York finance data sets that I want to be able to work with. So I want to do data science against these data sets. And then when I want the results of my data science, when I want my trained model or my aggregate statistics, something like that, then Bobby on his notebook can decide which tensors he actually wants me to be able to get back in response, right? And this is like a totally general purpose way for 2 people to hop on a call and do remote data science. And it's a really important early use case just because of how flexible it is, right? The notion being that we can do arbitrary data science between two different individuals. So that's what this Syft 0.30 is about. So if you're interested, check out one of these 4 epics, which you can find. They're always at the top of the milestone. 0.31 will focus on the functionality needed for static federated learning and plans. And then 0.3.2 will look into protocols and async support. And then we're also investigating whether the guts of PySyft are going to move down to Rust, which is a really interesting experiment. So if you or someone really likes to code in Rust, definitely give us a shout. Also, we're always looking for distributed systems engineers in the Syft core team. So if you or someone you know or love likes to work with distributed systems and might be interested in sort of rolling one a little bit from scratch and working on some of the guts, then give us a call. And we meet weekly on Tuesdays. And we have a Slack channel that we collaborate on, and we do architecture planning meetings on Thursdays. Yeah, I think that's it. Back to you, Amber.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. Will you stop sharing your screen, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew. Very good. Next up, we have Patrick Cason joining us from Sesimbra, Portugal, and he leads our web and mobile teams. And I am just going to find it. Where are you, Patrick?
That was Patrick's theme song.
Please play intro music for everyone.
Yes. Do it. Can I get like the Frankenstein theme song?
Oh, oh wait.
Yeah. There we go. That's the official intro music for the web and mobile team. We actually play that at the beginning of every single meeting. No, we don't. We tell a really bad dad joke. I've told this one before. I'll go. I've got one. I've used this before. So some people have maybe already heard this. If you know the answer or you've heard it already, don't balk at me. But why could the bicycle not stand up? Because he was too tired. There you go. I presume everyone is laughing or sighing or something. I can't hear any of you.
It's fine.
Great, thank God. I'm very self-conscious. Perfect. Hi, my name is Patrick. I lead the web and mobile team here at OpenMined. For the past 6 months, my team and I have been working on static federated learning for web and mobile devices. We did this work actually funded by the PyTorch team. I think a little bit later you'll hear from Theo Riffle and his Krypton team, who are equally awesome. And they were also part of this very same grant. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overview of where we ended up at the end of that time. And it turns out we ended up releasing 4 libraries. Can everyone see my screen, by the way? Is that good? We good? Awesome, sweet. So we released in particular 3 worker libraries, Syft.js, Kotlin Syft, and Swift Syft. Syft.js is for web, Kotlin Syft is, of course, is for Android, and Swift Syft is, of course, for iOS. All libraries are actually capable of training and inference of any PyTorch model on basically any web browser, Android device, or iOS device. The greatest part about federated learning is just simply the fact that the training data never actually leaves the device. So some really great use cases that you could do early on for this would be things around federated analytics. That's kind of my personal favorite example, but there's a ton we'll talk about here momentarily. We also have full support for JWT authentication to prevent different kind of networking attacks, speed network detection testing if that's important, and then also we support multiple different communication protocols. Specific to mobile only, we also have support for battery charge detection to make sure that models are only training or inferencing when the phone is being plugged in. A lot of the mobile use cases you'll find for federated learning are basically that training is performed when the user of that mobile phone is actually asleep. So not only is charge detection very important, but also Wi-Fi detection. If you're at home sleeping, you're probably on a Wi-Fi network so that you're not running off your cell phone plan. And of course, also sleep-wake cycle detection to check that the user of the phone is actually asleep. We also support training both in the foreground and in the background, and we have support for multi-threading in Kotlin Syft and Swift Syft. So basically how this works, and I don't know how much time I have, so I'll just go until I'm told to stop. But basically the first step is that you're going to create a PyTorch model, a training plan, and an averaging plan. The model is exactly what you expect it is. Your training plan is basically the plan that your worker library will run on the device itself. So whether that's a browser or a mobile phone. And the averaging plan is actually run by PyGrid, which we'll talk here about in a moment. But that is basically the plan that is run to average all the weights that have been submitted from the devices so that it updates the global model and trains it. Secondly, you want to host everything. So after you've created your model, your plans, and such, you will host them in PyGrid, and you can define some optional configuration. We have support for server and client configuration. So server would be defining the parameters of the cycle. So how long should each cycle last? How many should there be? How many workers can we accept in a cycle, etc. The client configuration is actually handed down to the device itself. And this would be a great place for you to put hyperparameters like your alphas, your learning rates, things like that. Step 3, you train the actual PyTorch model using data on the device or in the browser. Step 4, you report the model diff back to PyGrid. So basically you'll want to compute the difference between what you trained on your device as well as the model that was given to you originally. And then you report that difference back to PyGrid, so it's extra small. So PyGrid knows exactly what to average. And then finally, last, as a data scientist, you can retrieve that model from PyGrid and then use it for retraining or inference or really anything you'd like. So we have 2 examples currently that ship with our libraries. We have an MNIST example, which is kind of like our hello world. We just picked MNIST as a simple way to test. But basically, this would be you've got an MNIST sample data set on the device. It can train a global MNIST data set and intelligently improve that over time. We have these demos available on GitHub for all 3 of those worker libraries. An interesting note for Syft.js is I mentioned we had a 4th library that I haven't talked about yet. That's 3PO. The interesting thing about 3PO is we actually decided that in order for web browsers to execute PyTorch plans, they instead actually have to be converted to a format that Syft.js can read. Since PyTorch doesn't have a web library at the moment, we utilize TensorFlow.js. So 3PO is our command translation library that translates plans from PyTorch or some other deep learning framework into either TorchScript or into TensorFlow.js. We also have a second demo done by a member of our team, Maddie Sheng. I don't know if she's here. Hey, Maddie, if you are. This is a really awesome demo and really kind of takes the power of what can be done with these libraries to the next level. It's reinforcement learning in the browser. So we thought, man, what would be really cool is if you could create like these AI-powered website layouts to where you could say, okay, I want to optimize for the click of a button or something like that, some sort of predefined goal. Or Andrew's favorite example, I want to optimize for a good night's sleep, right? You're optimizing for something, and you basically want to feed in a configuration of different layouts that that website could take on, and it will slowly optimize towards basically the preferred layout over time. So users just interact with your website as they normally would. They're each shown a different version, and slowly the experience will start to convene towards the optimized or the preferred experience. Some fancy math stuff. We use Thompson sampling under the hood for that, and that's available currently only in our Syft.js GitHub at the moment. The future, what do we want to do next? So currently we don't have support for secure MPC or secure aggregation protocols, but we will add these in the near future to where workers can be paired by PyGrid using WebRTC, and they can then use that peer-to-peer channel to actually perform training together in these various protocols. We want to add support for a JavaScript version of PyTorch should one become available so that we don't have to rely on translating commands. We'd actually like to work with the PyTorch team on releasing an official libtorch wrapper for iOS. They currently have one for Java and Android, but they don't have one released for iOS yet. If anyone's interested in working on 3PO, we could use a lot of help adding commands, adding different frameworks. This is a really great place to get started, especially if you're a beginner to this community. And the last thing that we want to add is we also want to add the ability for arbitrary execution of PyTorch plans, regardless of whether there's a cycle. So these are a couple of the things that we're working on in the next version. And if you got any questions, I'd love to take them outside. I think I'm way over time. Sorry about that, Amber.
You're good. You're good. Thank you so much, Patrick. Yay.
Yeah, thanks.
Beautiful. Okay, so, oops, I didn't mean to ask you to unmute. Okay, awesome. So up next, we have Alan Aboudib. Yeah, we have Alan Aboudib up next. He is joining us from Créteil, France, and he is going to tell us about the natural language processing team. Cool.
Thank you, Amber. Yeah, so Créteil is actually it's in the suburbs of Paris. Just in case you want to find it on GPS and see where I live. So do you see my screen, by the way?
We do.
Perfect.
Yes.
So happy birthday to all of our community, and I'm really excited about all the interesting work you're all doing. So what I'm going to do now, actually, I'm just going to present to you the ongoing work on ciphertext and maybe motivate you to contribute to become part of the team. So ciphertext actually is a privacy preserving NLP library that we are developing at the NLP team I'm leading here at OpenMind. It is a library that, like, our vision for the library is to be used for two main use cases. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you very quickly about these use cases and then to show you some code of how the next version of ciphertext will be used, of like very simple snippets. So actually the first use case is plain text pre-processing in a private and secure way, and remote actually pre-processing. And the second use case, or usage, as I like to call it, is secure pipeline deployment. Let me explain. So about pre-processing, so imagine you have like some remote machines that own some data sets, and those data sets are private. Let's say private means that you cannot just look at the data and start pre-processing, like to look into strings and do all the stuff you usually do on your own machine. In this way, actually, you need a way, like you need a method to convert a string into a tensor that you can then train a PySyft model with, for instance, a sentiment analyzer or other types of models. So you need a tokenizer, for instance. Well, this is a standard, and then you might add some other pre-processing components for tagging, for instance, named entities, or for doing any kind of excluding some words, or etc. So ciphertext actually helps you send these components to do that remotely on the machine without you seeing those strings, convert them into tensors, and then train your model. Now, once you're happy with your model, you can take all of these pre-processing and the trained model and deploy it with on your machine, for instance, for other people to use it later. For instance, James might import ciphertext and search for the model you deployed and just use it. So ciphertext will handle how the pre-processing components will go and act remotely. So these are the two use cases. Now let me show you a little bit how this is supposed to work in ciphertext 0.1.0, which is the version we are working on right now. So I'm going to show you an example about only remote tokenization. So this is something you can run if you go to the ciphertext 0.1.0 on branch on GitHub. So you import ciphertext, of course, and you create a language model. You give it a name, for instance, ciphertext test, and you get what we call the language object. Now you can define, let me get this out of the way. You can define a tokenizer. So I chose, like you can configure actually your tokenizer. I choose here to give it just an exception case of tokenization, just to prove to you that it's the same tokenization we are going to use each time. So token will be always broken into to and can. And you define a vocab and you add them to your language model, set tokenizer and set vocab. And here you can define some access rules, who can have the right to receive this tokenizer. So once you create this pipeline, so it's a very simple pipeline, but the vision is to also add PySyft models to it. You can create a PySyft string and then send it to Bob, and you get a pointer to that text. So I show you here that the text is on Bob. Of course, I violate privacy just for this demo, and I show you the string itself. And then you call NLP on that pointer, and the string is tokenized. So this is a token. Okay, so this is not that fancy for the moment, but like we tokenize thing, we are happy with this, and then we want to deploy it to PyGrid. So you just call deploy and choose the worker where you want to deploy your model. And in this case, I choose a worker called James. So once I call this, you see that on James, there will be, on the object store, there will be an object called cipher language model whose ID is ciphertext test, which is the name you chose for your language model. Now, the pipeline lives on PyGrid and you want to use it. So you just call ciphertext.load, and this will trigger a search, PyGrid search actually, for the model. And then you define another string, you send it to Alice this time, and you call this model you found on PyGrid on Alice, and it is tokenized. So I need this token. So you search for the model and you can tokenize it and treat any string on any other worker. So that's it, very quickly. And I hope this maybe motivates you to use ciphertext and to join our team. So back to Amber.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alan. Very cool. Okay, cool. So let's see. Next we have Sourav, who is going to, asked him to unmute. Sourav, who is leading our mentorship team. He is joining us from Silchar, India.
Assam, yes.
Yes. Perfect. Take it away, Sourav.
Hi. At first, I want to congratulate Andrew, Amber, and all the team leaders, team members, and everyone here in the community. So happy birthday, OpenMined! Yay! So, so it has been incredible journey for me as a contributor, mentor, and now I'm leading a team. So I'm wishing the best, and I believe we will achieve more and more milestones. So it's really amazing. We are making the world more and more privacy preserving and building privacy tools. So little about me and my team. My name is Sourav, and I'm from Assam, India. And I'm leading the mentorship team here at OpenMined. You can find me on Slack at Sourav. So feel free to reach out me about the mentorship or like anything. So we started mentorship team back in November 2019 by Amber. So at the time she was leading the team, so she's awesome. Currently, I have 25 mentors in my team, and they are doing amazing. So go team! And yeah, so my team works on providing one-on-one mentorship to the community members, as well to the new members joining our community all around the world with different levels and experience, and like they also have different interests as well. So we have mentored 1,000+ mentees, so it's a huge achievement for my team.
Wow.
So yeah, this was really great, and yeah. So mentors help them the mentees to reach out, reach their goals within our OpenMined community. So it can be like learning a particular code base, or become a contributing team member, joining dev community or research team, and hosting a meetup or anything else. So the mentors are the best people to guide you to get started in the community. So, and we're always looking for the new members to connect us and joining our team. So feel free to join our Slack channel in our OpenMined Slack community OM mentorship. So in the OpenMined Slack, also check out the community team in the check out the welcome package as well in the GitHub to know more about the mentorship team. You may be also curious about how to receive mentorship from the OpenMined mentors. So if you don't know where to get started or how to navigate in the community, just fill out the receive mentorship form. Once you fill the form, you'll be assigned to an awesome OpenMined mentor, and the mentor will be guiding you one-on-one mentorship, and will help you to graduate from the OpenMined mentorship program. Also, if you want to become a mentor and joining our OpenMined mentorship team, we have also 2 roles in the mentorship team. The roles are community mentor and technical mentor. To be a community mentor, we don't need any technical requirements currently, but you should be passionate about the community and giving back to the community members and guiding them to navigate the community. To be a technical mentor, you need to have a basic understanding of deep learning concepts and OpenMined's PyGrid library. And currently, technical mentors are supporting the learning team's first bootcamp. And yes, so you can find the requirements in the OpenMined welcome package. I'll be sharing the link in the chat. So thank you everyone for joining us today. So, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me in Slack, as well as I'll be also hanging out in the gather as well. So yeah, over to you, Amber.
Awesome. Thank you, Sourav. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, like you said, you can find, if you weren't here right at the beginning, here's the link to the welcome package. You can find information on how to join all of our teams, community and dev teams at that link. So check that out if you are interested in more information about the different teams. Cool. So next up, we have Bennett, who is going to be telling us about, oh, you've already, cool. Bennett's going to be telling us about the design and marketing teams, and he's joining us out of Nashville, Tennessee. Bennett?
Hello, everyone. Yes, hello, I'm Bennett. I'm at Bennett on Slack. And like Amber said, I lead the brand and marketing team as well as the design team. So for the brand and marketing team, our basic goals are to, well, the big thing that's happening for us right now is coming up with the positioning and messaging language, like basically hoping to empower the community with the right kind of like word set to use when people say like, or ask kind of what is OpenMined. And so we know that like the community's undergone a lot of changes over the course of the past 3 years, and we really have kind of like Andrew has mentioned and several others like reached this inflection point on like we're now at the point where we can create a cohesive story and a cohesive message around what OpenMined is, and then not only that, like find the right language to communicate to all the various people that we'll need to communicate with. The goal of the brand and marketing team is really just crafting those stories and providing the community with the assets and the right types of things they need in order to be good carriers of that message. Generally, I guess practically speaking, we make sure that the newsletter is what it should be and gets out when it should. So that's definitely a function of our team, as well as the production of the AMAs. Basically making sure that all the resources are in place to make those happen well. And then we do keep it kind of like under the brand and marketing team. There's also the design team, which I'll talk about in a second, and Emma's writing team. So at some point, once we get the messaging and positioning kind of in place, like the strategy around what is designed and written will all kind of happen at that point. And then obviously monitoring the basic analytics from the website and the social channels and coming up with strategies around that. So that's all kind of like a function of that. The big project happening right now, as I mentioned, was like really solidifying the messaging and positioning. So that's kind of what's happening there. As far as the design team goes, the main role of the design team is to develop and maintain the design standards for the community, and develop the brand system. So like all the logos for all the various projects and products that are coming out. So definitely doing a lot of that, doing a lot of figure support for things like blog posts and that sort of thing. And then the big project for the design team right now is we're doing a total reboot of the website. So there's a lot of fairly dated stuff that's happening there. So I know that there's been a lot of work going on around getting that kicked off. I know a lot of you saw the link to the user survey, which is kind of a lot of the data that we're using to support that initiative, as well as there being a lot of crossover between the website and a lot of what Patrick, who's got some dogs, has been working on, but developing the UI kit for OpenMined that will be used kind of throughout all the things that OpenMined creates, as well as on the website. So that's the big project that the design team is undergoing right now. Yeah, if any of that sounds interesting to you, it's the #team_marketing for the marketing team, and then team_design for the design team. If those types of things interest you, or you have needs of our services. And that's it.
Awesome. Yay, thank you, Bennett. Cool. Very good. Cool, so next up will be Kritika joining us from Karnataka, India, to tell us about our differential privacy research. Kritika, I am unmuting you.
Hi.
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 Hey everyone. Thank you for the intro music. I'm Andrew.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. So I hope it's clearly visible. Happy birthday to OpenMined for all these 3 years. Yeah, I thought at least the logo should wear a hat if we can't. Okay, so I lead the differential privacy research team, which actually hasn't been possibly not much talked about in the community, the research teams in general. So I'm here to kind of give you some information about what we've been up to. And the team has around 20 people right now, and you might find some very familiar faces here. And yeah, I'm going to continue. So essentially, differential privacy in a very, very short, crisp way would be, you know, you have a lot of data, user data, and you want to do a lot of things with it, but you're not able to because by doing those things, you're compromising the privacy of the people whose data it is. And you want to do that, but you still want to do those things. So, you know, you add some noise to the data and you make that more accessible to larger crowds or larger audiences. And you do this at the same time as when you're ensuring the privacy of the users, and you're also making sure that it's not significantly harder to compute than it originally is. And yeah, it sounds a lot like magic beans, but it's a pretty neat trick. So at OpenMined, there are a bunch of teams working on differential privacy, and many of them are in development, which you will see later in today's presentation. But I'm going to kind of focus on the research aspects of differential privacy that OpenMined is working on. So what we do, we have, as of now, thought of what are some good use cases and some good research directions to work on, and you can see them here. One of them is to work on local differential privacy, which is basically the simplest or the kind of most conservative way of applying differential privacy, where you apply like a lot of noise to your data in a very preliminary stage. Then we are looking at private deep learning and machine learning, where you kind of think, okay, how am I going to add noise, as little noise as possible, to data which is actually going to go through a neural network, and you know, still make sure that the final model accuracy is pretty good or does not decrease too much. Then the other thing that we're going to look at, that we've been working on, is how to make SQL queries more private. And that seems like a really interesting area, because, you know, SQL queries can actually lead you to find very, very specific results about very specific people if you're actually kind of hunting for them in a way. So kind of working with the querying framework and understanding how with the more number of queries that you ask, how is it possible to preserve privacy using differential privacy. And the one really important educational project that we're working on is kind of releasing a tutorial series which equips people to be able to use differential privacy along with PySyft and to really understand what's happening under the hood. And some of the more applied projects that we are focusing on right now is, working on contact tracing apps, especially for COVID, and doing that in a private manner. So how do you collect people's data, which is super sensitive because it's about their health and about their location, and still kind of making them say, yeah, we're okay with you taking our data as long as it's private. And the other use case that we're looking at is, say, a bunch of hospitals have medical data, and because it's all split up into different parts, maybe it's not good enough to really make some medical breakthroughs using AI. But if it's all combined, then we could be doing a lot more. And so how can hospitals work together to kind of be able to really take leaps forward? And this would be something of a differential privacy plus a federated learning kind of setup. And finally, a really interesting project is how you automatically validate whether whatever framework that you have or whatever process that you have, if it's actually differentially private or not. And if it is, how, to what extent can it preserve your privacy? So that's like a quick summary of the things that we're doing and exploring. And yeah, here's some information. You can find me on the Slack, on the OpenMined's Slack, with the username @Kritika. And you can get involved with the community by joining the research and the topic differential privacy channels. And you can find a detailed agenda of what we've been up to here in the Google Doc link, which I can share in the Zoom call as well right now. And that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you, Kritika. Also, if you would.
Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much. Cool. So next up, we have Chinmay, who is joining us from Mumbai to tell us about our differential privacy team. Chinmay?
Yeah, cool. I'll just start sharing my screen. Wait, hold on. Okay. Okay, cool. Can you see my screen?
Yes, beautiful.
Cool, perfect. So hey guys, I'm Chinmay. I lead the PyDP team, or we call it the Python Differential Privacy Package over here at OpenMined. So wait. So we have a wonderful team over here. We have Andrew, who leads us, and then we have Ben, who leads the differential privacy team, help us manage with the research team, the web team, and the Java team, and then there's me. So we got about like 25 contributors already, and we are hoping more of you can be here soon. So that's what we are hoping for.
Nice.
Okay, so we started back in September 2019 when Andrew created the package, all the repository, and since January 2020 we are going rapid development, and in April 2020 we had our first release, which was widely accepted by folks, and the tweet went viral on Twitter actually. And right now we have some stable releases, but in August we are planning for a production level library. And in next few months, we are coming up with our own package, our own different goals, and that should give us in 2021 when we should say like one place for all differential privacy. More of it in next slides. Cool. So what we have achieved already, you can install PyDP using on install Python DP. We already have a Docker image out. We have 25 contributors with 300 plus commits, so that's pretty great. So we already support the Google's differential privacy library. Almost like we support all the functions. We are just getting it production ready. And if you want to try the package out, you can just simply go at bit.ly/pydp-notebook1. So here's our big agenda, all our next goals for PyDP that we are planning. So we want to be Keras for differential privacy, or one-stop for all differential privacy operations. So so it's based on 4 verticals that we are planning. One is we want to support all DP mechanisms. So we have something called as Laplacian, Gaussians, geometry, and others. So we have just completed Laplacian, but we want to increase all mechanisms now. The second is the database integrations. We want to integrate all the database in-house, so you don't have to use any other ORM language, ORM package or anything to load the data. The third is we want to give machine learning and differential privacy supports, and machine learning and deep learning support. So if you want to use using TensorFlow, or you want to do PyTorch, or if you want to do like linear regression or PCA, you can simply do using PyDP. And the last and the final one is we want to support the ETL processes, that's extraction, transformation, and loading. So if you're in big organizations and if you want TBs of data, this is the process, and we want to make sure that the PyDP fits in this process. So whenever you want to share data with anyone, you can share your data freely. So I think I'm just gonna keep it short, so you can what we do at PyDP, we are making machine learning, privacy preserving ML accessible to everyone. And I just want to tell everyone that the world of DP has just started. No one's there out yet. No one is a leader yet in the DP world, not even Google, not even IBM. Apple is not there. So if you guys want, we can start this race. To contact us, we are libpydp on Slack or CodeDP Python. And if you want to contact me, you can just find me on Slack or Twitter. Oh yeah. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chinmay. Nice. Thank you so much. Cool. So next up, we have Emma Bluemke, based out of Oxford, England, and she's going to tell us about our writing team. Emma?
Yep. Oh, yep. Nice. Did you just unmute me, or have I been unmuted that whole time? No,
wait, I unmuted you. You're fine.
Okay. Okay. Hi. I have a presentation. I'm just rapidly closing windows to figure out how to share this. Yes, just a second. Perfect.
Okay, Andrew will play theme music until you're ready.
Okay, so should I? Yeah. Okay. 1 second. Do this, and then if I do present mode, does that work for you guys?
It says it's loading. Yes, it does.
Okay. Hi everybody. I'm Emma. I'm from Canada, Ontario, in case any of you guys are wondering. I know we do have quite a few Canadians in OpenMined. So I lead the writing team, as well as you see me in partnership stuff, and I'm helping out a little bit with the really exciting notebook demo that's going on for medical stuff, because I'm a PhD student here in medical imaging. Can you guys hear the children in the background?
Yes, but they're not very loud. It's okay.
Okay, I can close the door if needed.
The children do that.
They're not my children. Okay, so I just threw together kind of an overview of what we're doing on the writing team and how you guys can get involved if you guys are interested, or also just so that you know that we're producing this material and you can have a nice read through while you drink your coffee in the morning. So we produce if you haven't seen the blog yet, I'd be surprised, because it's right there on the website, and we produce awesome stuff. But if you haven't seen it, you can click on the top of the website or search OpenMined blog. We also tweet about our stuff all the time. Yeah, here's kind of what it looks like. It's actually about to be redesigned. If anyone has strong feelings about how that should look, you can come talk to us. We're very excited for a redesign that kind of makes it easier to see all the content we're making, because we produce a lot of content. We release at least around 10 blogs a month, a little bit more usually, a lot during the COVID season. Actually, you guys have been writing like mad. We produce a huge range of material. Sometimes it's just something like an announcement. So for example, this is announcing a partnership that we have going on with UCSF. So there it's quite easy. You just say, hey community, we're and doing this partnership, you describe what the partnership is, and then you publish it. We get the design team to make these beautiful graphics with everybody's fancy logos on them, and then we release them. And that's like huge value to the community. Really, really fun stuff to write. It's always really exciting things, and often it's secret until we announce them. But yeah, we're looking for people to help make announcements. So if you're interested, message me on Slack at Emma. We also do essentially like tutorials or just explanations on how to do things, so that relate to privacy or what people in OpenMined would be interested in knowing. So this is a really great blog on extracting private data from a neural network. That's something that generally our community would be really interested in seeing an example of. We also do actual demonstrations of the OpenMined specific libraries as well. So this is an awesome blog with PySyft, PyTorch, and Intel SGX. This one's really great. Check it out. It was really, really useful, especially when speaking with our partners as well. It's nice to be able to demonstrate in a really concise blog post how these libraries can be used. Also, we are frequently reposted on the PyTorch Medium. So if you guys are fans of PyTorch and you follow their Medium blog, you've seen that OpenMined has taken over a whole section on their responsible AI kind of subsection of their blog. So that's really exciting. So if you are writing a blog for the OpenMined blog and it does include PyTorch, it's highly likely that they would also like to repost. They're really interested in that. They're also reposting a series that we're doing, which is I don't have it next, but one second, I'll get to that in like 2 slides. We also do more like long form, almost more what you would think of when you think of a blog post, kind of opinion pieces or just sort of general privacy topics. This is a really, really great blog by Claudia. It's about genetic data privacy in the dawn of big data forensics. And it's the faces in the background that you see in that image are from DNA phenotyping, which is where you can actually reconstruct what somebody's face looks like from their DNA profile. So it's a really good blog. You should check it out. And thank you for everybody who helped and gave their input on that blog. You can also just write about, for example, hey, privacy preserving data science is really useful in medical imaging, or honestly, whatever, like, financial fraud detection, or whatever else you'd like to talk about. So you don't necessarily need to talk about OpenMined specific things. You could just talk about a really good use case, and you can just sort of do, big future looking pie in the sky kind of, this would be maybe an ideal use case for this. We really, really like those as well. And to be honest, those are often a really, really nice way to kind of start up a whole project around that thing. And even if you don't necessarily feel that you could do the code demonstration of it, you giving the example of what someone should do will inspire the next person to do a code demonstration of it. So it really does spiral out like that, which is really nice. Because actually, this one's one of our older blogs from last summer, and now we actually have examples of all of these things on medical imaging data. So, and actually, we just had one on medical text come out, which is by Carlos, and that was another awesome blog. We also do interviews, and for example, with featured contributors every month. Those are very fun to read. It's a very, very fascinating community. You guys are all so interesting. And we would be interested in actually doing more interviews. So if you had an idea for a really good interview that you'd like to do, that you think the OpenMined community would be interested in reading, let me know, because I think that that's really fun material. Our blog is obviously technical code demonstrations, but it's also just fun stuff to read and stuff about the community and what's going on. Often, announcing various events that are going on or new teams that are forming. We also have a very exciting series. This is the one that I mentioned is being reposted on the PyTorch Medium. It's essentially a resource to explain privacy preserving data science in a more simple and approachable way. We kind of wanted it to be, I was actually requested to produce this. We wanted it to be a simple resource that you could just send one link to someone if they're like, wait, what is all this stuff? And it starts by explaining each concept in one sentence, moves to explaining it one paragraph, and then each one breaks out into a full code demonstration of that topic. And then now, actually, oh, sorry, am I out of time, Amber?
No, I just said, woo!
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, excited.
Yeah, and now it's, I mean, you guys amaze me. Now we're breaking out into like even further, you know, the differential privacy section is getting split into really, really awesome, like kind of 10 parts almost, or maybe even more. And it is going to be a great series. It's going to be so much great learning material. I learn a lot from editing these. Wow. Okay, next. Oh yeah, so this is an example of one. Once you break out, you can go into, and you'll see this post is part of the privacy preserving data science explained series at the top, which links you back to the original post so you can see more. Okay, so yeah, what's our history? We're actually a very new team in some ways. The blog has been around for a long time, but a team surrounding producing blog material has only existed since it was me and a handful of us around December is when we kind of started arranging as a writing team, which then really picked up. That's the yellow line. That was us kind of starting out. And then we really picked up around January this year was when we started doing regular meetings. And then the lockdown, everybody decided that what they want to do in lockdown is write. And so our material just really skyrocketed. We really had a lot of people contribute to translating things, especially during the pandemic when we had posts that were relevant to people worldwide. We had, I think in 48 hours, you guys translated a post into 14 different languages. I think more than that. It was very, very impressive. Yeah, so also if you are interested in doing translations, just let me know. Sometimes we have posts that we would like translated. So that's always something that you can do. Also, you can do Syft tutorial translations or other tutorial translations. So you can translate that tutorial into whatever language you can speak. And some of you guys speak a lot of languages. So we have had 285,000 impressions in Google search results in the past 12 months. That blows my mind. We haven't done active search engine optimization for these blogs. So that's one thing. If that's something that you guys are really interested and have a background in knowing how to do that, and you feel like 285,000 impressions is not enough, and you think we should be getting way more than that, let me know. And if you know how to do that, and you know how we should be changing maybe the format or what the titles are of things, let me know. I'd love help on that. Because right now we are following our hearts with what we're writing, and we're following people's requests. But we could also, we'll never stop following our hearts, but we could add some other things as well. So we have a new workflow. Amber, how much more time do I have?
2 minutes, because we were running really early when we started.
Perfect. Okay, so our workflow is really, really nice and hands-off. You guys have a lot team, but it's just so that you guys don't get lost, and I can edit and give guidance and help. So generally we have several topics. So either it's the privacy teaching series, it's long form, or it's code demos, or it's like readmes and documentation. And those are on 4 different project boards on the OpenMined GitHub. And so you can see the project boards here. There's to-do, so you can just claim any of those blog ideas and you just assign them to yourself. You then slide that over to in progress so that everyone else can see what's going on and what's being worked on. They can like message you if they want to help out, things like that. If you need an editor, you move it on to the other section, and then when it's done, we close it. So we actually just started this system a few weeks ago, I think, and it's going really, really well. And it's been really, really efficient. So I'm very happy. If you want to assign something to yourself, you need to be part of the writing team, which means you have to contact me. And so then you can be part of this group here. We also have a writing team channel that has about 50 members. On the actual GitHub, we have 30. So we've got a few people who haven't quite moved over yet. And here you can see the actual project boards there. So the actual URLs for them is this here. So if you went to project/32, project/30 and 31, you would find them. So if you just poke around the GitHub, you should find those. My name's Emma on Slack, @Emma. The face looks like this, always looking the same. And yeah, that's everything. So I would just like to say finally, obviously sometimes when you join an organization, or maybe you join OpenMined because you really like the idea of everything and the cause, but you feel like you don't know maybe enough to contribute yet, or you really want to, like, I don't know, maybe you're feeling intimidated or you need time to learn. Writing a blog is a really, really good way to learn, because it gets you to do the thing, right? Like if you can have that on your to-do list, go through the Syft tutorials for like 12 months, right? And you would never do it. But if you say, you know what, I'm going to try to do a blog on whatever, you will finally learn a lot by writing that blog. And then also through that, you'll probably meet a bunch of the people in the community, which makes it, you know, a lot less mysterious. You kind of get your head around everything that's going on. Honestly, even if you just wanted to start with writing something totally non-technical and just announcements, that's also a nice way to kind of like wrap your head around everything that's going on. So yeah, a lot of the time people have, or actually in the past 6 months, it really seems that people have written a blog and then said, okay, actually I'm going to keep contributing to this project now, like that team, you know, they're really interested in that team. So I think it's a really nice kind of funnel to getting involved with other areas as well. There are no requirements that you have to write a certain amount of pieces per month or anything like that. So it's really come, contribute, go do other things. It's all good. Cool.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you, Emma. Cool. So awesome. Thank you so much, Emma. Next up, we have Łukasz, who is from Warsaw, Poland, and he is going to tell us about differential privacy on JVM. Łukasz?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, let me share my screen real quick.
Emma, I think you have to stop sharing your screen first.
I can actually take over. Have I succeeded even?
Perfect. Yeah, you did. Nice.
That's great.
Cool.
All right, so this talk is about differential privacy on JVM. My name is Łukasz Kożuchowski. I'm from Poland. You can talk to me on Slack. My Slack name is Replomancer. This diagram has not been shown today yet, right? It's straight from the OpenMind welcome package. It shows the OpenMind teams. I just wanted to show where my team is. It's this little one, this little one right here. It's one of the sub teams of the differential privacy team. We have a lot of cooperation between those teams here, and that's what we do, differential privacy tools for JVM.
Nice.
These are the contributors so far. Ben is leading the differential privacy team. Ben and Jonathan have contributed a lot in the early stage of this JVM project when we had some research to do and we were making plans. What we actually do right now is very different from the original plans, and we're also making new plans for the near future. So this team is very new. It is still forming and we are changing plans. It's a little complicated, but I'll just tell you about the current work. Google published a differential privacy library. It's a Java differential privacy library. Chinmay's team is working with a C++ library from Google, and this is the Java counterpart of that library. We are making it easier to use the Java library in other JVM languages. And these languages on JVM, they interoperate very well. So it's actually easy to call Java from Kotlin or from Scala. It's easy to call Kotlin from Scala and so on. But it's our thing to lower the barrier to entry to private AI. And in that spirit, we are building demos in various JVM languages for people who may be not interested in Java, just to give an easy start in differential privacy and DP tools from Google. So we have a growing collection of notebooks. The contents of the notebook's content is based on examples from the Google libraries. So we are porting C++ and Java examples to Kotlin, Scala, and Clojure. And we're making it available as interactive Jupyter notebooks. We also have a Clojure wrapper for the Java library. It seems Kotlin and Scala are fine without wrappers, but if you want, you can go to these notebooks. You can check those notebooks and tell me if you think a wrapper would be nice. Maybe there's something we should do better. Just talk to us about this. If you go to the notebooks repository, there's a link to my binder, so you can run these demos online without installing anything locally. We don't have time for this right now. Actually, this whole environment takes a while to start, but it works even on my smartphone. So if you're interested in differential privacy, I encourage you to go and try these demos. And that's it. If you would like to contribute, the notebooks repository should have some good first issues. Join the OpenMined Slack if you haven't yet. The JVM discussion takes place on Java DP Lib channel. And if you're interested in differential privacy, if you like JVM languages, we still have mostly notebooks to build, but this may change soon. We are friendly, you can talk to us, and that's it. Thanks for listening, and happy birthday to OpenMined.
Yay! Thank you so much, Łukasz. Beautiful. Andrew's gonna play you out your music here.
It's the James, it's the 007 theme.
Yeah.
What's that song?
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Let's see. So next up we have Ionesio Jr. from the PyGrid team. He is based out of Maranhão, Brazil, I believe. I'm sure I'm saying that completely. But yeah, he's going to tell us about the PyGrid team. Ionesio?
Hello. Can you see me?
Hi.
Cool. So first, congrats, Trask. I didn't know you can play so much. Yeah, and happy birthday, OpenMined. Happy birthday to us. So okay, so hello everyone. My name is Ionesio, and I'm leading the PyGrid team. And guys, I'm really happy to be here today celebrating the PyGrid with the OpenMined. It has been an incredible experience, especially because, as Andrew mentioned, like we have an amazing atmosphere. So I would like to share some presentation slides. How can I share my screen?
On the bottom in the middle, there's a green button.
Okay. Share. Can you see?
Yes, perfect.
Cool. As I mentioned, I'm leading the PyGrid team, and I will be presenting basically like our briefly context about our team. So basically, it's our vision about what we intend to accomplish. Basically, the PyGrid team aims to provide an easy way to put the open-minded technologies such as Syft and ciphertext and the static federated learning by itself in a real platform that can be deployed in different environments, such as private clouds or maybe private infrastructures. And that said, we work with the other open-minded teams so much. So we are commonly having meetings with like the privacy team and the crypto team and everyone, which is awesome because you can learn a little bit about different fields. And I feel like we have some privilege because we can basically like get an overview about how the OpenMined is being developed. And we can basically like see how can we fit all the features and the tools together. And also one of our challenges is basically like be aware to synchronize the versions because the repositories are independent, so we need to be aware about the versions. And our main goal is basically build an open source ecosystem, which can be in an optimistic perspective, the first privacy preserving and private machine learning ecosystem built in open source platform. So here we have some tasks that are in progress. We are basically adapting our solutions to the upcoming PySyft version, the next version of PySyft, which will probably be a 0.3.0. We also have another project, which is basically sponsored by UCSF, which basically aims to build a dynamic federated learning platform for arbitrary computation and maybe a dynamic federated learning in a scalable way. Also, as mentioned by Emma and Trask, we are working on the Jupyter Collab and Jupyter Notebook and Google Collab notebooks to provide a peer-to-peer connection, providing an easy way to use all the infrastructure. because using this approach will not be, you don't need to be aware about deployment or any infrastructure problems. So that's basically what we are working at this moment. And if you want to follow our milestones, basically you can join in our Slack channel. I strongly recommend it. There you can find like a lot of people that can help you and can basically ask your questions, answer your questions. Also, you can read, you can take a look at our roadmap repository, which can basically have a resume about our milestones. And if you want to contribute, I strongly recommend to join in the PyGrid channel, because there you can find a lot of people that can help you with issues and with doubts. And also you can visit the welcome package by the OpenMined that can be basically like very explanatory for how can we get started into the community, you know. So that's it. Thank you for coming. Thank you for attending. And happy birthday.
Yay, happy birthday, OpenMined. Thank you so much, Ionesio. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Next up, we have Adam Hall from Edinburgh, Scotland. He is going to tell us about the security and identity. Adam Hall?
Hey, this is good.
Hey.
Just going to share my screen.
Yeah.
There we go. Can you see it?
Yes. Beautiful.
Okay, great. So yeah, my name is Adam. I'm lead of the security and identity team. Well, let's go like a quick whistle-stop tour through one of the things that we're working on, and a distributed trust framework in this. I'll go through our team and then our high-level objectives as well. So what we're trying to sort of achieve with the security and identity team is really the combination of three fairly different things, and it's a process created out of these three areas. So we want to be able to audit and define defensive security tools and privacy-preserving machine learning workflows like differential privacy and secure multi-party computation and so on, and figure out which ways are the best to apply these together, and in order to solve specific use cases and so on. And also, in order to properly contextualize that, we need to look at sort of offensive security and how we can sort of trigger leakage of information in privacy-preserving machine learning workflows. For example, like model inversion would be a great example, and like the defense against that would be like differential privacy and so on. And both of these things aren't useful at all, really, unless you know what you're trying to defend against, or what principles at least you're trying to like uphold in an organization. So that comes in the form of security governance, which is a lot less exciting than penetration testing or blue team like hacking. But it's absolutely necessary. So and since privacy preserving machine learning hasn't really been invented yet properly, and by when I say that, I mean it's not en masse adopted by industry. There's not really any governance models that are specifically out there for privacy preserving machine learning, which means people might get it or an issue. So we want to do this standard governance recommendation. We want to do this documentation and audit, and we also want to implement a distributed trust framework for implementing this governance. So our team has Will Abramson and Lohan Spies, who are sort of our SSI/trust over IP experts, and we'll go into a quick talk about what that is like soon. We have Tom Titcombe, who's running PyVote, which is one of our applications of SSI. We have Pavlos, who's running PyVertical, which is an implementation of split neural networks and PSI. Tom Farran doing Opus, which is a method for onboarding information in SSI, Afzal, who's currently pioneering this governance work, and Abhishek and Theo, who are also working on split neural networks. So now we want to sort of focus on the what SSI is and why it's important to OpenMined. And to give a good set of context for that, we need to look at what the current mechanism is for resolving trust in the internet. So the idea is we have these root certificate authorities who, third-party service providers or anyone who owns a website, can apply to, and then they will sign off almost like an attestation of the authenticity of this person. And that'll be a certificate which they issue to, let's say, Google or GitHub or Facebook, which Google then holds. And then when we go to the front end of Google for our account login, then we trust what it gives to us on the basis of it has used the public or the private key in that they have associated with the certificate to send over that information. And actually, until 2016, and Let's Encrypt came along, you had to pay somebody in order to encrypt any communications that you did, or from using HTTPS or through this mechanism anyway. How is self-sovereign identity different? We have these things called agents, which you hold locally, and they actually store all the personally identifiable information about you online. And the idea is we don't store these things in these backend databases anymore. We store these on the person. But what we can do is we can sign these pieces of information off as verifiable credentials, which means instead of Google taking your account ID or your account details and then storing it in its database, it would take your account details, sign off that it's seen it and it approves of it, and then send it over to you to then be stored by your agent. And there's this new mechanism for creating an encrypted channel called peer-DI-DCOM, which is leveraged by this infrastructure. But the bottom line is, when we start integrating SSI, then there's no longer the need for third-party service providers to store any personal identifiable information about us. So we'll do a very high-level review of what verifiable credentials are. We have these three basic sort of aspects of it. We have the metadata, which contains your name and when it was created and so on. And we have these claims, which are the data points inside a credential. If you're a part of a university, it might say this person is a lecturer in this department. And then we have the proofs, which is the mechanism that you can use to prove the validity of these claims that you hold in your credential. And these will be, this could just be a digital envelope for this data from a public key that you or a private key that you trust. Okay, so what's an agent? An agent is this set of core components, but in the drawings for later on, I'll just represent it as this. And this basically just allows you to look up credential schemas in order to resolve them. And then also it contains all the core cryptographic functionality for doing all these credentials. So, and then this peer-DI-DCOM channel, and this is another very high-level review of what it is the mechanism that SSI uses to establish trust in an encrypted channel. So a single-use set of PKI credentials are sort of made up and then communicated to this other host, and then they do the same, communicate that back. So at this stage, we have an encrypted channel, but we don't trust the channel. So nobody can eavesdrop on this, but we don't know who this person is. So now the idea is that these agents already have a bunch of credentials, which will allow them to prove that they are authorized to communicate with the person on the other end. So when we want to validate whether someone has the correct identity on the other side of the line, we ask them to send a proof over to us of another credentials. We can then look up how this credential is defined in some trusted database or some ledger somewhere, and then we can resolve the proof using that definition. And then if it resolves properly, then we've established trust over this channel, at least on this side. And we do that on the other way in order to create the full trusted channel. So now we've got that sort of out of the way, we look at what sort of problems can we solve with self-sovereign identity. So we can do privacy preserving machine learning, but there's a problem in privacy preserving machine learning, which is and I suppose it's a problem which is present in all of sort of computer science, which is we don't want to trust inputs from untrusted sources. So we don't actually always know that the person on the other end of the notebook is who they say they are. And we don't necessarily know that we're computing on the data which they say it is. And at the moment, there's not really a way for us to verify that we even have the data. And it could be that they're training honestly, but it could be that it's like a bunch of zeros, and they just want to delete our model, or wipe the gradients or whatever. We can also aggregate data into agents as credentials. So that's like on the side here. We can see like a bunch of different data sources coming into this agent. And the really great thing about this mechanism around SSI and how it can fit into privacy-preserved machine learning is with privacy-preserved machine learning, we want people to train on data which they store locally, right? So the more information or personal identifiable information that we take from public services that are held about us online and pull them into this agent, then the more we can potentially leverage with privacy-preserved machine learning. Yes, we can do also credential empowered privacy-preserving voting mechanisms. So instead of actually, I'll go to the slides. Let me just explain this. Okay, so in this example, we would have is how like we can do privacy-preserving machine learning on verified data. So we can prove these two things with verifiable credentials at the moment. That the researcher is authorized to train on the data that they want to. So the one side of the notebook can prove that they have the authorization. And on the other end, we can prove that the data owner has the correct data without revealing the data. That's called proof of knowledge. And what it allows us to do is it allows us to create this decentralized trust framework where we can facilitate the trust relationships, which we sort of describe here. So like we want to exclude people with bad models who would want to like just memorize data that they encounter like verbatim, or we want to exclude people who have poisonous models with like full of zeros or whatever else. And the way that we would do this is the NHS Trust, and in the UK our National Health Service is called the NHS. The NHS Trust would issue credentials to every valid hospital. And then a regulator would would be like an industrial watchdog on which researchers are allowed to do what. So then, as long as the hospital trusts the regulator and the researcher trusts the NHS Trust, then the attestations which are made in these credentials and shared over here are going to allow for this trusted channel. And if we want to take a one step closer on how this would look and how it's currently being built at the moment, we have this period ID connection. We have this blockchain for like verification lookups, and we have our agents which communicate credentials to our algorithms. So something that's not involving privacy-preserving machine learning, because like we can do privacy-preserving machine learning in the near future, but there are other things we can achieve with it. Is we want to be able to onboard all of the information that we have on third-party services online in these databases which are held out on the cloud. We want to be able to onboard this to be held locally. And what this would look like is we have this application, Opus, which would define a credential schema for, let's say, a Facebook account. So then a user logs into Facebook, they go to their account page. Opus would tell them, oh, we can parse this and sign off all the data that's held on your account page as credentials. So they would send this signed page over to the Opus server, who would parse it for data which can be stored as a verifiable credential, and then we can return that back as a credential to the user. And this sort of opens up at a baseline like an ethical alternative to current surveillance capitalism's, I suppose, standard business practices. I mean, so I suppose it could be what fair trade coffee beans is the Starbucks. You know, it provides this slightly more ethical alternative where we can at least get the consent of users before we spy on them. Or we can enforce that the users needed to give consent. So next we have Privo, which is this system for posting credentials onto potentially a ledger or just some other kind of privacy preserving mechanism, which can be created out of the technologies that we're using. So if we want to use this, what this might look like is we define like a standard governance framework for how we want to do our voting, and we put references to that onto some trusted storage location. And then this would facilitate people to post updates to some message board with signed methods. And this is the group of technologies which we can use to sort of improve the capabilities of what we're building in Privo. So I'd like to end on one final thing which we're going to be working on in the near future, which is zero knowledge data discovery and transport. And it sort of looks at a problem which isn't currently being addressed in OpenMined, which is around behavioral analysis of networks. So like we can do our privacy preserving machine learning on data which we find from like a hospital, and we can prove that that data wasn't moved or anything like that. But the person who connects these people actually gets quite a lot of behavioral information from the network. So maybe this is just a yeah. So if this researcher often connects to this hospital, and this hospital is doing let's say dementia learning or dementia specializations, then we might be able to infer that this researcher is potentially, or that has a lot of data about dementia, or this is just like a person that's engaging with this, or is a person on this site engaging with this hospital, then we could infer that this person has dementia based on how they interact with the network. So we have this problem. We need to retrieve, this is analogous to this sort of problem which we've outlined. We need to retrieve a book from the library. The book's identity must be kept a secret from everybody, especially librarians. Only librarians can find and retrieve books. The librarian must be able to correctly identify books in order to retrieve them. How can the librarian correctly identify the book without first knowing an identifiable feature? So that's the brain teaser, which I'll sort of leave you on. And if you want to know anything more about that on how we plan to solve it, then please reach out to me after this, or reach out to me on Slack, and we can go through it. But yeah, I think that's me, and I'm probably out of time, so I'll hand over to the next person. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, Adam. Cool. So up next, we have Helena Barmer, who is joining us out of Malmo, Sweden, and she's going to tell us about the learning team, online meetups, and the social media team. So Helena?
Hi, everyone. So good to be here. And happy birthday, OpenMined.
Yay!
Woohoo!
That's so cool.
So, Amber was saying happy birthday to everyone at the end, I guess. Oh. Kidding. So I am here today, and I will just introduce 3 of the teams. I am not leading all of them, but I am part of them. So the first up is the learning team, and I actually know that we have a few of the members, and who's oh, thank you, got this. Thank you, it's in Swedish. So if the learning team members who are here today, just say hi in the chat, that would be so awesome. The learning team is led by Ionesio, so she's not here today, and I am her. And the learning team is an OpenMined community team that organize structured learning initiatives. We have an upcoming bootcamp next week, which is really, really exciting. And we're going to teach privacy preserving machine learning concepts, introduce participants to OpenMined projects. It's going to be super awesome. Please, if you're interested, I'm going to just post it in the chat. You can join our channel. If you have any questions, you can DM the team lead Yemi as well. And yeah, so next week we have the first bootcamp. We only have 15 participants for this, but in the future, this is a beta bootcamp. So that is why. So just the quality before quantity, and upcoming is larger bootcamps, and make sure to join it if you're interested in just learning together with awesome people. You can also join the channel, the Community Owned Learners channel, if you're interested in organizing or helping out in the team. So we have a form at the top of the channel, just fill that out, or you can DM me as well. Yeah, thank you, awesome background. Yeah, I made it myself, so painted it this morning. Yeah, so if you're interested in awesome learning initiatives and want to follow that, just make sure to join the channel Community Owned Learners. I posted it in this Zoom chat for you all. And for the next team, that's the team I just recently started, got onboarded to lead, and that's the Meetups team, which will actually be an online Meetups team. Yay, so awesome. So we can do more of this. We can meet together and just have fun together. I will not sing as Amber will later on, but we will do other awesome things. So because of the COVID-19 situation, it's not possible to meet in person, but online meetups like this, it's just amazing. It's great. So you can do that. And you can organize a meetup around a topic, presentation. Maybe you want to do a presentation. Maybe you know someone, or if you need help, I mean, I'm there to help you to find people who are awesome presenters who just want to try it. But go creative. If you're interested in hosting, just be creative. You can do so many awesome things with secure and private AI and the OpenMind topic. So yeah, just join. I'm going to post this as well in the chat so you know where to head. And if you just want to join a meetup, you don't have to host them. Just join the channel as well. And I also included the latest OpenMind Paris meetup. They have a YouTube video, so you can check that out and just see how it could, you know, how it could be run and how you can do it. And it was just such an awesome meetup. I couldn't join it, but I actually watched the video the other day. Really cool. So DM me for any questions if you're interested in hosting, or if you just want to join in, if you have ideas, join the meetup channel, and let's stay connected because it's so possible. I mean, how cool is all this tech? We have Zoom, we have Google Meetups, so we can stay connected no matter what is going on around in the world. And lastly, I'm gonna present the social media team. So I am now the team lead, Madeline Mamuliano, and I am also part of this team and just helping him. He is such a good leader, and I'm not sure if he's here, but he's really awesome. Super happy to be part of that team as well. So the social media team is formed by members of this community who are passionate about creating content for and building engagement in social media and social media activities. And we create content for externally, like Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, the monthly newsletter, and also the Slack announcements. So working closely with the teams, research teams, writing teams, so we know what's up and that we can communicate it out to the community so you all know what's happening and which blog posts to read, or just what to keep a track of, which tutorials to just, you know, join in and do. And we also measure engagement for all these platforms, so we see which kind of content works better, so we can adapt and improve, of course. And the main goal is just to promote all the achievements of OpenMined's team, which is a lot. And so, you know, you've seen awesome things just happening. And I've been a part of OpenMind for 1 year only, but I can just imagine how it all, you know, from the first start to now, it's just amazing. Just in 1 year, it's been amazing to see everything that's happened. So if you have any questions to the team lead, Madeline Mamuliano, you can DM him. Just tell him he's awesome as well. Don't forget to do that. But yeah, so just by keeping track of all the social media channels and the announcement, we hope to encourage people to join OpenMind and join different teams, and just to know what's happening and where to go and what to do. So that was me, 3 persons in one. And over to Amber, who will, I love that music, Now Amber will sing happy birthday together with everyone. Thank you so much. It's awesome to be here. Yay, go OpenMined, happy birthday.
Yay, thank you so much, Helena. You're amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Cool, so we have one more presentation, and that is going to be from Ayoub, who is out of Algiers, Algeria. He's going to tell us about the cryptography team.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Happy birthday. And so I'm Ayoub Benaissa. I'm a member of the crypto team. And today I will be presenting what we do at the crypto team. So let me but first share my screen. Oop. Yeah. Do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. So I will be mainly presenting the crypto team, the project we are working on, and how we organize ourselves, and some useful pointers so that you can know where to start next. Let me get this to full screen. So you see this on full screen, right?
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, we have real diverse teams spanning different time zones.
Sorry, it's not full screen. I think you have to press present.
Like this.
I think in the top right. It's either the yellow one or the one to the left of the yellow one.
I don't think.
You're looking at how to hit present?
Yeah. Yeah, that you had it for a second, and then it went away.
This one.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Is it on full screen?
It is not.
It was for a second though.
It was for a second.
I can only read. I only know English, so there we go.
Oh, maybe you have a pop-up blocker on because it popped up, but then it went away.
Is it good like this? Maybe we'll. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. So like I said, our team is spanning like different time zone, different countries. We have undergrad and graduate students, people from the industry working at tech companies. So we meet weekly on Thursday, and we also, like any other or most of the OpenMined's team, start with a dad joke, the kind of joke that you only understand at the end of the meeting. And so now we'll go over some of our projects. So because like crypto spans different subtopics, we also span different projects at OpenMined. So for example, in Syft, we implement secure multi-party protocols like SecureNN. Also for function secret sharing, and we also have ongoing projects for implementing the Falcon paper, if you have heard about it. And we also have ongoing projects for implementing things like homomorphic encryption into Syft. We have also, if you have heard or read the blog post about the Krypton integration that we published last week, that so Krypton integration was about implementing or having Krypton frameworks as a backend for doing efficient secure multi-party computation protocols. So you might already have used Syft for doing things like training neural networks on private data, or doing inference with private models on private data. So with this, you'll be able to do the same things, but with a kind of in a different way, with some more efficient SMPC protocols. And we also have Tensile, which is a library for doing homomorphic encryption on tensors. And we just recently published our first version, along with a tutorial for training a logistic regression model on encrypted data using homomorphic encryption. And we also have PyFE, which is a library for functional encryption. So because we we span different projects, we need like some special organization into the team, and we are trying to like have subgroups into the crypto team. So we hope to have like secure multi-party computation subgroup, homomorphic encryption subgroup, and functional encryption. So dividing the team into subgroups will like help in having better communication between the team members, so that people that do research in homomorphic encryption are implementing libraries for doing homomorphic encryption can be like, you have more support from your teammates, better communication, and you can advance more into your projects. So we hope that to have like this division of subgroups so that people can collaborate more efficiently in the team. And so for some useful pointers to get started, so you can follow these links for learning more about our project roadmaps. So there we list all our crypto projects along with their roadmaps so that you know what we are working on and maybe where you can help. And there is a link for applying to the crypto team. So if you are interested in joining our team, maybe you are interested by one of our projects, or maybe you have an idea of your own that you want to implement with us, and so that we can work together on this, or maybe you just want to hear our weekly jokes, so it depends. And so we span different channels on Slack. So you can find us on libpysyft, libtenseal, and also on Tip Crypto. So the main channel would be Team Crypto for asking questions about cryptographic protocols, cryptographic implementation, and so on. And so the crypto team will be on Gather after this presentation. So feel free to join us and have discussion and ask more questions. And over to you, Amber.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ayoub. That was amazing. And guys, this has been so much fun. Thank you for being here. I hope that we do this all the time now. It's been really fun hanging out with everybody. Thank you so much to all of our presenters for volunteering your time, and thank you for all of you for being here. Once again, please feel free to check out the welcome package, which I will share in the chat again right now. And that has all of the information for all of the teams. So if you need more information or you know, have questions about who's leading it, you can find their Slack names there. You can also find how to join, where to get started, good first issues, all of that kind of cool stuff. So check out the welcome package for all of that. Also, all of the presenters are going to go hang out in the Gather in the areas that are labeled with their team or topic names. So feel free to go join them if you have questions or just want to chat. To get there, all you have to do is close the Zoom, and then if you entered via Gather, just click re-enter Gather in the window where you had it open, and you'll be popped right back into the presentation room in the Gather, and then just follow the arrow through the doors to the main Gather area. Yeah, and the Gather will be open for another like 2 more hours, so feel free to hang out and mingle, and thanks again for being here. See you guys later.
Yay!
Yay! Let's see if I can unmute everybody. Ask all the unmute. Yay! Bye, guys. Andrew, you're gonna play us out. Happy birthday.
Yay!
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys. Please post the recording.
I think we can't hear it because I unmuted everybody. Sorry, Andrew, play louder.
Oh, really?
Yeah, play louder. There you are. Open mind.
Yay! Thank you everyone for your presentations. Those are awesome. See you in the Gather.